Broadcasting live on StarWorldWideNetworks.com. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. But one of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Welcome to The Real Deal, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the famous Star Worldwide Networks in the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. And yes, we are definitely off the reservation again tonight. With me tonight is my producer, Kyle Pratt, the son of the infamous Dave Pratt. Say hello, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going, Ambassador?
Ambassador's all in, getting ready for Labor Day here.
Yeah.
Also with me is my co-host. She's doing the filming here on Facebook Live, Maggie Yee. She'll be saying something to our listeners in her language here in just a little bit. Excuse me. We had a good week. Had some people in we hadn't seen in a while, and they listened to our show, and they like it. We really need sponsors, ladies and gentlemen. Please consider being a sponsor. I've been doing this for about 3 years, and any help you can give us, we'll take it. And you can contact me at 602-540-3000, info@yellowhorse.us. So that's where we're at on that. We got some great guests coming on tonight, but one of the ones that she hadn't been on in quite a while is Alicia Powell, and she has real news, not fake news. She's an investigative reporter with WND in Washington, D.C. She's our eyes and ears. And she's going to be bringing us up to date about what's going on in the swamp over there in the sewer. So I want everybody to listen in, share with your friends, and then, of course, my co-host, Alex Agnos, will be on here in a little bit from Los Angeles. We want to thank our listeners all over the country, Native Americans and all Americans coast to coast. And then I want to thank our listeners, especially in the towns that Halbritter picks on, like Lancaster, New York, Wilmington, Delaware, Neshaminy, Pennsylvania, and Goshen, Indiana, coast to coast, California. Also want to thank our listeners down at Channel 3, Jamie Soretta, and all the other great anchors down there that listen to our show. She does a great job. American Indian Center of the Great Plains. I talked to Johnny Lerner the other day. Actually, I got a call a couple days ago, Kyle, from Sheriff Joe.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he wants to come on the show.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Love to have him back. I remember that show. It was a great show.
Yeah, so he's going to come on the show and talk about what's happened with him and his pardon. And I'm sure glad, I told him too, I says, I'm glad Trump pardoned you.
Yeah.
You know, he really got railroaded. They cheated him out of a jury trial. Mm-hmm. And anytime you're in a criminal trial, you have a right to have a jury.
Right.
And his was a criminal trial. But they cheated him out of it because they knew that they would never get a guilty verdict from people. Mm-hmm. They would all vote not guilty because they all know what he stood for.
Yeah.
He stood for law and order.
I feel like that's one of the main reasons why Trump made the decision to pardon him.
Yeah. Trump knew
he knows that.
Yeah, and there's an attorney on Fox News named Greg Jarrett. Uh-huh. If you ever get a chance, watch him. He's a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
And he was on the Lou Dobbs show the other night, and he basically said that Phoenix is trying to get out of Phoenix is saying they're not a sanctuary city, and he said they are. And he started giving evidence on how he can prove it. And then the other thing he said that was very interesting, this new sheriff we got, Penzone, he's letting all these criminals loose.
Yeah, he's a kind of a 180 of what Sheriff Joe stood for.
Yeah, he's letting them all loose, and according to Greg Jarrett, and I believe him, and he put the statutes up on the TV on the wall and said, "Here's the statute he's violating, and it's clearly a felony, and Penzone should be arrested for letting these felons go." And then he said, if one of them goes out there and kills somebody,
it's going to be on his hands.
It's going to be on his hands, and it's like 35 years.
Yeah,
behind bars. But he actually said somebody needs to in Arizona. Somebody needs to go arrest this guy. And so I'm hoping.
Good point.
I'm hoping somebody does. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to listen to my friend and mentor, Peter MacDonald. He was 4-time president of the Navajo Nation. He's the president of the Navajo Code Talkers. Very good friend, and he's going to address all our listeners in the Navajo language. Peter, if you would.
Yate shas toy sezane setelke shije the neshike no kliniki o shidi Peter MacDonald dashne aska zahon slobet ani bashin adot sakane dashnale ashi dashche todich in eba setta shada halya kododi anini eba hanne no kodoy Ambassador Dennis Yellowhorse niji yaltijo yolwol akoda nini be edeba hanne the real deal wol yo jo koe hashine lan ne se ziyel yadal tlahoda ba ohlahob lahadal no die do kot eda ebni na hada kisigi kodo the real deal no yahal negi da nini jo edeba honne ako ikena aslagi sto banda yorni to banda notra Graves Company will yov la shibe da no sandai da jo kodo kwishi without di ikena asla kodo kwich na long kodo ni yati.
Thank you, Peter. Now we're going to have my business associate. He went to the inauguration with Alex and I, Mark Burr. He lives in Virginia, and he's been all over the world. He's a retired Marine. He speaks several different languages, and he's very fluent in Spanish. And he's going to say something to our listeners in Spanish because a lot of our listeners, especially in southern New Mexico, Arizona, northern Mexico, and California, their language of choice is Spanish. So, Mark, if you would, please.
Claro que sí, don Dennis. Nuevamente, bienvenidos a nuestra audiencia de hispanoparlantes y a todos nuestros patrocinadores, Graves Propane de Flagstaff y YouMade Internacional de Gallup, Nuevo México, y a todos los radio oyentes a través de la nación y del Real Deal y nuestro anfitrión, el embajador.
Thank you, Mark. Now, my beautiful co-host here is going to say something to all our listeners in her language. She's from Hong Kong, and she speaks Cantonese and Mandarin. We had a good friend of hers that's an accomplished actress, was in here for a week, and she's Chinese, and now she lives in Barcelona where they just had a terrorist attack, and she felt so bad because she lived right there where they had this terrorist attack in Barcelona, and I asked her what the hell's going on over there, and she said Spain's beautiful, and they just opened their arms to all these Muslims, and the Muslims are overtaking the country, and they're using it as a training ground for terrorism, and those people were going to do big damage. I don't know if you were following it, but those young terrorists, they had a bomb factory.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, and I mean, they were going to take out that big cathedral, some of their big churches and their monuments, they were going to take them all out.
Well, thank God it didn't get to that.
Yeah, well, what happened was they had an accident and blew up the bomb factory, and then that tipped off the police. But these people, I'm telling you, they don't assimilate, and that's why she said, you know what, you don't see these terror attacks in our country, in China,
right?
Because they don't let them in. They don't let them in. Japan won't let the Muslims in. They can't go into the country. They can't own land. They can't build a mosque. They just don't want them.
Yep.
And that's smart.
hey, I mean, if you don't see anything happening there, so.
That's right. Okay, Maggie, if you would please.
分析其实这个节目是说美国的印第安人的历史文化。Western Post 访问所有美国印第安人，他们都喜欢 Western Redskins Kansas City Chiefs 这个名字，但是有的坏人呢要改变这个名字。珍妮斯·文马先生为了保护这个名字，他本人做出了好大的贡献和支持。我们也是希望得到每一位的参与和支持。珍妮斯·文马先生还有出售有机土壤叫优美，如果有需要，请打我美国电话6025151073。Thanks so much for having me on Real Deal. That's such my honor.
Thank you, Maggie. Star Worldwide Networks, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Camelback Towers, downtown Scottsdale, is the largest, fastest-growing internet radio station in the country. 200 shows and growing. 6 million listeners all over the world. Kyle, tell them who's number one.
The Real Deal is.
You damn right. And thank you. A lot of that has to do with all the fans of the teams that we have stuck behind, and those teams are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington Redskins, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks, for listening and honoring Native Americans by using the names. And the Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision about 3 months ago, ruled in favor of the names, that these names aren't racist, and that was that. So that shut down Halbritter and those goons that he runs with, fake Indian. That's what he is, fake Indian. And this is just more social and cultural genocide to Native Americans. And this is what was done in Germany, burn the books, get rid of the race. It's nothing more than a phony civil rights scam. Now you'll see the left-wing media and these left-wing Antifa idiots attacking statues of our history. Confederate statues. They even attacked Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are total idiots.
Yeah,
man.
and he's the one who fought the Confederates.
Yeah, he's the one that freed slavery.
Which one do you want?
Yeah, so they attacked him, and they want to blow up Mount Rushmore, and I mean, they're just pathetic losers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're scumbag losers is what they are.
There's worse things going on in this country.
Yeah, and they're not going to quit, and they figure it's like Alex said, George Washington owned slaves, so therefore we got to get rid of the George Washington Monument, change the name of Washington, get rid of the name Washington. I don't know what you change it to. So then, get rid of Thomas Jefferson. And so I think we got to get rid of the William Jefferson Clinton Library.
Oh, yeah.
That's got to go.
Yeah, it's just going to get to a point where anything will be qualified as racist.
Yeah, everything's racist, and it's like I tell my friends, when all else fails, play the race card.
Yep.
It works every time.
Always wins.
Yep, always wins. Okay, now I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break, but I want you to call the pilots.
All right.
Tell them to light the fires, kick the tires, and get us over to Washington, D.C. Okay, we're back. Now our next guest is the world-famous investigative reporter with WorldNetDaily, WND.com. Miss Alicia Powell is on the phone with The Real Deal. Alicia, welcome back.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. We miss you. So how's it been going over there in the swamp?
I mean, we just finished seeing the president, the left trying to impeach the president for being an advocate of white supremacy for the last 2 weeks. And now they're probably going to find a way to blame him for Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's what they do.
Yep, I'm sure that's what they do. Alicia, you're familiar with Charlottesville, right? Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I might have driven through. I haven't spent any time there.
I've been through there. It's been years ago, but it's several hours away from Washington and Baltimore.
Right.
What happened over there a couple weeks ago? Of course, the mainstream media, you can't hear it. They won't tell you about it. Is these protesters, these Antifa protesters and Black Lives Matter protesters, and also there's the KKK protesters were bussed in there. And I found this out through InfoWars. If that guy named Alex Jones, no relation, but he had two reporters over there when this was going on, and they videoed them. And there was 3 buses that pulled up, and they were white buses, and they were all together, and they pulled up at the same location. And out of one bus come kids with black shirts that said KKK on them. And then on the one bus was the Antifa guys. And then on another bus was the Black Lives Matter people. And they tried to say Trump was a racist, and he didn't say anything, and he was quiet. And Trump come out and said, he says, I want to get the facts. Well, those are the facts, and the media don't want to talk about that.
Well, from the beginning, when I first heard about what was going on that Saturday in Charlottesville, my first inclination was to believe that it was orchestrated. And one of those reasons is because if the KKK were going to be doing any protesting in the last decade, it would have been their agitation with there being the first black president or the first mixed race president in office. We did not see that happen at all during the Obama administration.
That's very true.
Perhaps the media, they were out there doing what they were doing, and the media were just not covering it. But I just think I think the whole thing was orchestrated.
Oh, it was.
And the proof, another red flag about the situation is one of the organizers of the Ku Klux Klan rally was a former Obama supporter,
right,
and an Occupy Wall Street protester. And that information was revealed by the Southern Poverty Law Center, a very left-leaning organization that looks for racism in every corner of America. And they brought to surface that information. So I believe it was orchestrated. And it's probably because this whole Russia probe, there's no there. So let's turn the page and find something else we can get everyone. Another reason to try to impeach Trump. Let's claim that he's a white supremacist, even though you can see him repudiating racism and white supremacy throughout his career in the public eye, which has been a long 40-year career in the public eye. If the Democrats are and have been intent on branding the Republican Party as racist for decades, and it's really just an attempt to attribute their own racist history of segregation and slavery onto the GOP.
Right.
And they're really just, I think a lot of Americans are aware of this, but it's not stopping the fact that it's being propagandized on television, in classrooms, and on the mainstream media. And there needs to be more people speaking up the truth, and we don't see that coming from the Republican lawmakers or Republican leadership.
I know. I'm so disappointed with our senators here in Arizona, John McCain and Jeff Flake. And Trump had a rally down here the other day in Phoenix, and he had about 20,000 people here. And and there's so much support for Trump from the communities across Arizona. It's unbelievable.
I really think that more can be done. I think it's about time the Republican Party starts addressing issues that need to be addressed in the Black community and the minority community. I mean, there's legislation that the Democrat parties that stifles this demographic, and there's legislation passed by Republicans that helps this demographic that gets widely ignored by the media. But I really think that surrogates need to go out into Harlem or into Chicago or into all of the poverty-ridden parts of the country and start enlightening them with ideas about what conservatism actually means, which is social mobility and starting your own business, owning your own home, the importance of having a mother and father in the household. Because when you listen to Democrats talk, their main strategy to continue to get votes and to continue growing their base is to fill people's hearts up with hate and pessimism about this country and reasons why they should feel envious or upset with white people. And how much longer is this going to go on? It's really, not only are we letting them win this propaganda war, but how are conservatives really refuting this? I think that, you know, a large part of my life involved in politics. George Bush was president, and I was a conservative in New York City, of a multi-race person. And I defended the president for not being a racist and talked about what he did for people of Africa with AIDS, or how he started the prisoner reentry program to reduce recidivism, and lots of things that he did. And it never got talked about, and it never was addressed in the media, at least not to the extent it should have been. Or school choice, right? Democrats are against school choice, allowing people who are poor to go and find schools in different communities and get government vouchers to pay for these private schools. What reason in the world did the Obama administration or Democrats have to not be for school choice? These are things that need to be better communicated, and they're not being done. So this race problem, it has a lot to. It's really because Democrats are race mongers, they're race hustlers, they're a grievance industry. But what are Republicans doing to refute it? In this case, we see with Charlottesville, them saying, "Well, of course we're not white supremacists. Yes, Trump didn't repudiate white supremacy strong enough, and we agree he's not doing enough." Well, you're really just, it's just pathetic.
It is.
We're in 2017. We're far from 1960s. Or at least we would be, and we should be, if it weren't for this ongoing race war that the Democrat continues to wage every single day. There's not a day you can Google Republican and racist and not have some Democrat politician or some celebrity calling conservatives racist.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that concerns me now, and Tucker and Sean Hannity, I think, are hitting on a little bit, is the Silicon Valley. You know, those guys up there, they're young billionaires. They're kids, most of them, and they control Facebook, they control Google, they control Twitter, Instagram, and they want to control what goes out on the air. In fact, you've heard of this guy, Milo? What's his name?
Yes, Milo Yiannopoulos,
right.
The former Breitbart editor.
Yeah, they're taking his videos down off of YouTube.
Yeah, that's happening to a lot of people who are conservative, that have big audiences. I think the same thing's happening to Paul Joseph Watson of InfoWars. In fact, lots of people who I've had friends in media who just they talk about Pizzagate or Pettigate. They say anything that's really going to marginalize the Democrat Party with truth. and they get banned from Facebook. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone say, I've been banned from Facebook because I've just put a status up that's explicating the conservative viewpoint. It's ridiculous. So we've got the liberal communists monopolizing every aspect of society, right? They're the ones that are responsible for systemic racism, and and they're really implementing a form of censorship that must be defeated. And it's really up to entrepreneurs in this country to develop alternative sources of social media.
That's right.
It's really an information war, and it's really a Cold War, right? We're really facing a Cold War between conservatives and liberals in the Democrat Party. And that Democrat Party has been infiltrated by socialists long ago, and it's just becoming more and more blatant, where they're not trying to hide it anymore. The mainstream media has evolved until, I think about during the Obama administration and now with Trump, they're just blatantly biased. They used to try to guise their biasness with some sort of moderation, and that's just not the case anymore.
No,
and Fox News is also morphed to a network that I don't fully trust anymore. Not in the same way I did.
No, there's a couple of them I do, but there's a lot of them I don't.
The purest, the best place to get real information right now is talk radio.
Right.
And thank God we have that. And I think that the talk radio and the internet is why the liberals aren't completely winning everything.
Yeah, that's why, like this network here, Star Worldwide, where I'm at, there's 6 million listeners, 200 shows. We're number one. But it's so important for people to support shows like myself and to support people like you who are willing to go out there and tell the truth and deliver the message. And that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to make any money. I'm just here to lay it on the line.
Yeah, I mean, there's months of a year already, and ever since Donald Trump's been president, the left has found one way or another to try to impeach him, or to always have him and his supporters on the defense.
Right.
And you would never think that we won the House, the Senate, the White House, but we're still on the defensive, and we haven't really won this long-term battle that
I think
the left is winning.
Yeah,
at this point
a lot of the problem is the establishment Republicans. They don't want to see Trump in there.
We just had the DNC lawsuit. Remember, we spoke about this in our previous talks on the radio. The DNC was being sued for fraud, for rigging the election against Bernie Sanders and having taken the donations of millions of Bernie Sanders supporters, while knowing all along he would never be the nominee, because they were not going to allow it. That lawsuit was dismissed on Friday.
Really?
And it's a shame. And I think that the lawyers and other lawyers should file this lawsuit again at a higher court and keep it going, because we haven't seen the Democrats get held accountable for anything that they've done that's corrupt. While we're sitting here Trump is being probed for Russia. Not only did they rig the election, what about Hillary Clinton? Just has no account. She's not being held accountable for anything. The DNC is not being held accountable for anything. John Podesta, none of the things that were revealed during the 2016 election are the Democrats being held accountable for.
That's right. And it's like they just look the other way. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's insane. And if the left had any type of corruption that they were charging the GOP with or Trump with, you better believe all their supporters would be out in the streets holding signs saying you rigged the election, you're going to be impeached. I mean, they're doing that now, and there was no election rigging with Russia. Right. And all those emails just basically show that they were likely involved in some kind of child sex scandal or in spirit cooking and rigging the election. They were using gay racial slurs and
Right.
derogatory terms against gay people. Those emails revealed.
Right.
And Hillary Clinton's giving favors out in the State Department to corrupt heads of state, selling political influence as Secretary of State.
Right.
Nothing. It's really up to journalists, I guess, to keep digging and
Well, and then
exposing.
what upsets me is where's our Attorney General, Jeff Sessions? It's almost like I said it last week. Those lawyers in the Justice Department, they're all Obama supporters and Clinton supporters, and same thing in the FBI. And it's almost like they got him on a short leash. They're telling him you can go investigate MS-13, you can go and investigate the opioid epidemic. Of all these doctors giving these opeds to these kids. You can investigate that. You can investigate some tax cheats, but we're going to tell you what to investigate.
Well, we can only speculate what's going on behind the scenes, but I do know that last week or, over the last 2 weeks since Charlottesville happened, we had the liberals coming out and demanding that Bannon and Gorka be fired.
Right.
And then Bannon and Gorka were fired a week later. I mean, what's going on here? We don't know what's going on behind the scenes or if there was some dysfunction between, Gorka and Bannon and Trump, but why do the Democrats seem to get everything they ask for.
Yep,
Whether
that's
it's
right.
Obama in power and Paul Ryan acquiescing to Obama or Trump's in power, and then the Democrats are still winning.
Yep.
And
Hey,
it's
Alicia, can you stick on the line with us? I'm going to take a short break and get Alex on from Los Angeles.
sure. Sorry, I'm outside and there's lots of
No, that's
insects
okay. Just
making
hang on.
noise.
We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're with world-famous investigative reporter with WorldNet Daily, WND.com, Miss Alicia Powell in Washington, D.C. She's our eyes and ears in D.C. And also with me is my co-host in Los Angeles, Alex Agnos. Glad to have you both back on The Real Deal.
Thanks. I'm happy to be back.
Good. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm here, but of course not in L.A. right now.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I don't know if you got the note, but we're down in Florida on that deal.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay. Is Bali with you?
Anyway, no. Bali's in Texas.
Okay. Well, stay safe and stay dry. Alicia, anything new on the Seth Rich investigation?
Well, tomorrow, I believe the GOP lobbyist and lawyer Jack Berkman will be going to court to find out if the court will issue the coveted ballistics report that the Metropolitan Police Department and Mayor's Office refuses to release. Seth Rich's ballistic report and the medical examiner's report and the autopsy. So we'll find out tomorrow if they're going to actually grant the profiling project, which he leads, the reports.
Good.
I suspect they won't, based on what we've seen of jurisdiction in this country, like the DNC lawsuit. But you never know. Maybe they will.
Yeah, I don't know. I talked to him a couple of days ago, and just briefly on other business that we have with him. And he wants to come on the show after Labor Day, so maybe we'll get him on next week or the following week.
Maybe he can reveal to us what happens on Friday. I'm sure I'll probably catch up with him tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, tell him I said hi. Anyway, maybe when we get him on, we'll try to have you on at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
We really need some leads with the Seth Rich case. The whole Rod Wheeler lawsuit. Rod Wheeler was the private investigator hired through a third party named Ed Batowski to go and investigate the Seth Rich murder. And he filed a lawsuit against Batowski, who hired him, and Fox News, alleging that the Trump White House was trying to use the Seth Rich case to deflect attention away from Russia, the Russia probe. So all of the information that Rod Wheeler told us in the last 4 or 5 months since I started reporting on Seth Rich, I believe that was all true. But for some reason, he's decided to place blame on the Trump White House and sue them all.
Yeah, when I heard that and I seen that, I thought to myself, this guy's just a self-promoter.
Well, I'm finding a lot. I find that to be the case with a lot of the sources I interact with. A lot of people are looking for news media to be their PR or to clear their names, and are kind of more self-involved instead of just getting to the truth. I'm not saying that particularly the case with Rod Wheeler. Just a week before he filed the lawsuit, or he publicized his lawsuit, he told us that he had arranged for congressional investigators who were probing the Awan brothers to meet with the MPD, and that he thinks there were links between the two. He thinks that the Awan brothers, who are IT guys for the DNC and Debbie Wasserman Schultz,
right,
had some links with Seth Rich.
Right.
That thing. Yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah. There's a California congressman, and he's I'm trying to get him on the show. He said he would have to reschedule. His name is Dana Rodenbacher. And he's from California. I don't know where. Maybe Alex knows. But this guy went and seen Julian Assange in person. He went.
Oh, I believe it was another rep that saw Julian Assange in person, and we really need to find out what's going on there, because I tried reaching that congressman. I forget his name right now, but he met with Julian Assange in person, and Assange is asking for a pardon from the Trump White House to come and reveal all the information that he knows about the DNC and those emails and how he got the information.
Right, but
this story's not dead yet. There's more to come.
Yeah, one of the things that this gentleman said on Tucker, and I was listening to him the other night, is that Julian Assange told him or whoever was with him that the leaks didn't come from Russia. They come from inside the DNC. So you know what that means.
Well, absolutely. And Assange basically insinuated that back in last July, right after Seth Rich was murdered. You can Google the video where he says, and I include it in most of the articles I write about Seth Rich, where he basically asserts that Seth Rich was not killed during a botched robbery.
Right.
And he wouldn't say that he was his source. He says he goes through great lengths to protect his sources, but if you don't even have to read the line between the lines very much to get the gist of what he's saying, he basically alluded to the fact that Seth Rich was the leaker.
In case our listeners don't know, Seth Rich was a staffer, an IT guy or whatever at the DNC.
He was a data and analytics guy at the DNC.
Yeah, the Democratic National Committee.
And he was killed on July 10th. Of last year.
And he was pissed off because he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. And he's seen the collusion going on between the DNC and Hillary Clinton. So what he did is he took 30,000 emails from John Podesta's email account or wherever he got them and sent them to WikiLeaks. And why? And just
allegedly.
Yeah, but just stop and think. Why would WikiLeaks put up a reward to find out who killed him if he didn't help them?
Right.
Absolutely.
And why would
that was
the
actually
DNC...
confirmed? That was confirmed actually.
Yeah.
And
no. Julian Assange put out money to find the murderers.
Yeah. Dana was a assistant to Ronald Reagan back in 81 or 88 or so. I mean, back from 81 to 88, by the way. But absolutely, that it was an inside leak, and those emails are very, very damaging. That's what's going on right now with all this cover-up with the media, and they're using all this racist crap because they're trying to hush what's really going on. You know, Trey Gowdy has been trying to get this investigation blown wide open. The whole thing with Comey and Lynch, this cover-up is a lot deeper and a lot wider than people can even realize with the emails and all that stuff that you mentioned earlier, Pettergate. It's all in there. You know?
Exactly. I think that if Seth Rich did leak the emails,
Ambassador Stevens is in there. All that stuff's in there. It's all in those emails.
Right. And then just the other day, it was revealed that Hillary Clinton, when she was at Secretary of State, she shut down this investigation into child sex and prostitution for ambassadors at the State Department.
Absolutely, and that was actually, you can find that. You can actually find that.
I mean, you know,
NBC actually started to air it. Then they got shut down.
That's right. NBC got shut down. It shocked me when I seen it on NBC because I knew it was real.
They were told, shut it down by Hillary's staff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, and then the whole thing with President Trump, of course, and, them focusing on Melania's shoes on this whole deal.
Well,
he's handling this situation better than Obama did with Louisiana. Can you remember what he did during that time of the big flood in Louisiana? What did he do? He stayed playing golf. He wouldn't even leave the golf, Martha Vineyard. And you know what? Nobody talks about that.
Yeah. We're going to have to go. We're running out of time. But before I go, one thing I learned here the other day is, you know, they're trying to figure out how to get rid of this Council Mueller. And according to my sources in D.C., they've attached a rider to one of these spending bills to stop funding Mueller and the investigation. And I thought that was brilliant because they kept saying, "Oh, Trump's going to fire him. Trump's going to fire him, and boy, we're going to get him now."
And you've got Republicans and Democratic lawmakers sculpting legislation to to make it so that Trump can't fire him.
Right. But what I think it's a great move that they just won't pay him. You think he's going to work for free? He ain't going to work for free.
Oh yeah. There's another guy that just got busted recently. His name is General Walter Sherman White. You're gonna see some stuff on that if you look it up. He was appointed by the Obama as the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff during both of his terms. He's a traitor. He's got ties to ISIS and Al Qaeda. All this stuff's coming out, man.
That's good. Okay, we're going to go. Alex, call me tomorrow from Florida. And
I sure will.
Alicia, thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you so much for having me. I will speak with you soon.
Okay, tell Jack I said hi tomorrow.
All right. Well,
Thank
that's
you,
Friday, September 1st.
Nice hearing from you again.
You as well, Alex. We'll
How's
be in
everything
touch.
going in D.C.? Good?
Everything is going good. I just need to break some news. I need to blow the lid off of the corruption. I'm eager
I really
for
hope
it.
you can solve the Seth.
If anybody can, I'm sure you can. So you guys take care. Have a good holiday weekend.
Thank you, guys.
too.
Bye, Kyle.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got one more song. Alex, Kyle's going to tee it up for us. We'll be right back.
I used to be on the Woodline Blues. I heard all the places, the back of town, where you really take the shit when the sun goes down. I really got buzz when you just a dead. Throw away the records with the blues is dead. Let me take a honor with the things that fire. And tonight I'll present blues expire. Oh, this is the guy who can the rock and roll. I'm off the rodeo. Don't even look at me, plain to see. She's the whole world of a little on me. This is the guy who can the rock and roll. This is the guy who can got the soul. Somebody help me up the bus, bitch. I'm in heaven with the kicking feet, but I'll be back tonight when the music plays. The system to rock on the blues away. The music just does when you sit down dead. Throw away the record with the blues is dead. Let me take a honey with the things that fire. And tonight I'll ever say the blues expire. Yeah. Oh, you think the kind of people keep the rock and roll. I'm about to go on a rodeo road. Don't take the thing plain to see. Shake the whole world of the long day. You think the kind of people keep the rock and roll. You think the kind of people keep the rock and roll.
Okay, we're back. We're at the end of the line. I want everybody to have a safe Labor Day weekend. If you're out and about, be safe. Take care of your families and drive careful and all that good stuff. And enjoy America. And in closing, I want to thank all of our first responders, our people in the armed forces that protect our country here and abroad. Without them, we'd go to hell in a handbasket. Please consider being a sponsor on our show. Anything you can do to help us out. I'm here to tell the truth and deliver the message. My company is humate.com, humate.com. And, of course, you can get a hold of me at 602-540-3000 if you want to be a sponsor or if you want to make a donation to The Real Deal. info@yellowhorse.us. Okay, I think we're all done. Kyle, why don't you tell everybody all over the country why the ambassador does what he does?
To kick ass and save names, Ambassador.
I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.